Hello, welcome to Success SQ Marshall. So, are you a software quality assurance professional and somehow you are still finding it difficult to differentiate between these concepts: bug, fault, defect, failure, mistake, error, and root cause? Really, there are quality assurance software testers who can still not really differentiate or finding it difficult to differentiate these terminologies. They just make use of these terminologies randomly, but doesn't really understand when and how to use them. So that's the reason why this video is being made, in order to clarify the differences between these concepts. Alright, so if today is your first time on Success SQ Marshall, you are watching this video for the first time, on this channel for the first time, or you've been coming to this channel, I implore you to click on the subscribe button and also the notification bell so you can get new updates each time I drop a video like this. So let's look at the differences between them. So if you look at this, you are going to see the linkage between root cause, mistakes, faults, defects, or bug, and also failure. So what exactly are these concepts and how do they interact or are interlinked? So if you look at the image below, you are going to see on the screen, the image you can see on the screen, you're going to see the linkage, and then it starts from the root cause down to mistake, error, down to fault, then defect and bug, and the last one, failure. So you just look at the arrow. The arrows are the linkages between these different states of issues. So root cause is actually what led to mistake or error, and error is what leads to fault, while fault is what leads to defect and bug, and why defect or bug is what leads to failure. So what is a root cause? A root cause is actually that original issue, that exact thing that is making, let me just put it this way, it is the parent issue or the primary issue that causes a mistake by the developer. Take for instance, there is a time pressure, or there is no adequate resource, or there is no adequate training for the developer or the coder or anyone that is directly involved in the project. Let's say a business analyst, who is to write the requirement, does not really have an understanding of a mathematical calculation or accounting calculation, and this is a requirement. In writing the requirement, he does not capture it very well because he lacks the training. So that training he lacks is going to be the root cause of the issue. Right. For the developer who is being pressurized because of a time frame, the time frame leads to the pressure, and of course that is exactly the root cause of the mistake he makes in his code. Now, mistakes or error are used interchangeably. So either error, either mistake, the developer makes it. That's exactly what the developer does that is not right. What the developer does that is not right, or what the business analyst does that is not right, is what is called mistake or error. Probably why he was coding, he's supposed to, write a method, make an object global, or instead he doesn't make the object global, or he's supposed to write a method within a class, but he writes the method outside the class. So now that is an error or a mistake which could be traced back to a root cause like time pressure, like inadequate knowledge or lack of training or some other things. Now, that mistake that is being made by the developer or the business analyst or any other person on the project translates into what is called fault. And that fault is the state of the system. That is the state of the system. Having made the error, that is the state of the system. So fault is exactly what is in the system that is wrong. Okay, so that is fault, and that is what leads to defect and bug. So bug and defect are the same thing used interchangeably. Usually bug is more like an informal term used for defect. So as per the requirement, when the requirement is being deviated from, it is called defect. It is called defect. And the defect is exactly what is wrong within the system that is making it to fail. Okay, so defect is when the developer has deviated from what is supposed to write in the code. He's not writing the right things. Okay, so that is defect, and it's also called bug. So defect and bug are what exactly is causing the system to fail. What exactly is causing the system to fail? That is bug or defect. Why failure is after defect and bug? What leads to failure is defect and bug, right? So after defect and bug, we talk about failure. Failure is you interacting with your software system, and in the process of interacting with your software system, you realize that the system cannot complete an operation. For instance, a user registration cannot be completed because there is a failure. In the process of filling this form and clicking on the submit button, the system does not respond to click, or the system responds to click, but the operation is not successful. The system is running or just keep loading endlessly without any response. So that could be a failure. So what exactly is causing the system not to perform the intended operation? Then that thing is called defect or bug. So what leads to defect or bug is fault, and what leads to fault is mistake or error. And exactly what brings about mistake and error is the root cause. So most of the time when defects are being resolved, it is usually advisable for the root cause of the defect to be found. And of course, there is what we call root cause analysis, which helps the developer or whoever is debugging the issue to find out what leads to the defect. Once the root cause has been known and is eliminated, then the system can start working as expected. So failure is when the software system expected results and actual results doesn't match. When you expect the system to behave in a certain way, but it does not as per the requirement. At that time or at that point, we say the system has failed. What causes the failure is defect and bug. What leads to bug, is the fault, which is the state of the software. And what leads to fault is error and mistake. Most times, these three words, error, mistake, and fault, are used interchangeably. There is only a thin difference between them. So that will be all for this video. Thank you.